Hi there, Don Morgan again. I wanted to touch on something that I talked about last week, and that was the problem that we're having with our FDA dietary guidelines. I had what I call I'm going to call it a MAHA moment. Not an aha moment, but a MAHA moment. And these things happen to me real early in the mornings, but what MAHA stands for is Let's Make America Healthy Again. And we have to start somewhere, and this is as good a place as any. And why now? Why Utah? Why me? This problem that we're having with the FDA dietary guidelines, or the My Plate, has really impacted our lives. It's, and I live with it every day, and millions of other people do too. Every time my toes start stinging and burning, and I look back at all the health problems that I endured, and I look at all the health problems that some of my close relatives have endured and are going through now, it reminds me of what we need to do. And we need to start somewhere, and we need to start with those FDA guidelines. There's been a lot of pressure on them to make some changes. And as I mentioned last week, the National Diabetes Prevention Program is going to be rolled out about a year from now in January of 2018. And it's going to be across the country, and it will be, on the surface, a good program. It's an intervention program that will happen when the primary care physician refers a Medicare patient to a lifestyle coach such as myself to get them started on a track of prevention of diabetes. And like I said, there is, on the surface, it's a great program, but the real problem is the low-fat diet that they're including on the program. The low-fat diet is really what's caused this terrible catastrophe, epidemic of diabetes and chronic illness across this country. And there's no other way to put it or to explain it. I mean, we have just gotten ourselves into a big mess, and we know about it. I mean, I'm talking to young doctors every day, and people are so confused about what they're really supposed to be eating that we have to put a stop to it. We have to put a stop to it right this minute. We can't let this program get rolled out to millions of people who are already sick and confused, and let them think that eating a banana and having breakfast cereals and eating whole grain breads, which aren't really whole grain, is the way to go. Because if you're insulin resistant, you can't eat carbohydrates like that. You can't do it. We have to avoid the sugars and things like that. It's just going to lead to a bigger disaster. So this MAHA moment came to me, and this is what we need to do. And again, why now? Why here? Utah is one of the healthiest states of the union. That's where this is being broadcast at. We have beautiful mountains. We have the outdoor rec show here every year. People are healthier in this state than they are anywhere. But still, there's a terrible problem even in this state with this carbohydrate addiction. So here's what I'm proposing. I'm going to start a nonprofit called MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. And we are going to solicit help to get this stopped. We have to stop the My Plate and the low-fat diet right in its steps. Now, the FDA has been under pressure, like I said, to change it anyway. So whatever we have to do, if we have to get an attorney or a bunch of attorneys, or whatever we have to do to get an injunction, if that's what you want to call it, but we can't let them roll that out. We have to get them to change to a lower carb diet. We have to stop the fat factory. Let me give you an illustration of what I mean by fat factory. People are confused about how they should eat and how much they should exercise. And you get a woman that has a baby, that's pregnant, and this is where the baby begins its healthy journey, right in the womb. You have a lot of women that are severely overweight, obese during pregnancy. They have gestational diabetes, which just simply is type 2 diabetes. And guess what? The baby has the same problem. We see babies born with extremely high birth rates, birth weights, 10, 11, 12, 13-pound babies, and they're just simply overweight. They're obese. They're in trouble right from the very beginning. So we put these poor kids right from the very start in a big mess. And they're born. People see them crying, fussing all night long, and not feeling well. They're not feeling well because they're sick. And we need to get the information out there. We need to let people really know what's going on. The FDA has to come out and say, look, this is a mistake. In 1950s, in the early 1950s, the science on the low-fat diet, they already know was flawed. And they have to admit that. And we have to change that. And we have to change it in our schools. We have to change it with our mothers. They've got to eat less carbohydrate. They've got to exercise more. They have to. We can't sustain the current crisis that we have in our healthcare system today. We can't do it monetarily, physically, or mentally. By their own admission, by the FDA and the CDC's own admission, 70% of this country is either overweight or obese, which is pre-diabetic, insulin resistant. And we have to start somewhere. And the main thing is if we can, and we have to, we can't just, if we can, we must, we will. We have to change these dietary guidelines. So what I'm going to do is follow up with another video, and I may do a fundraising video. We need to get a little bit of money together. I'm funding this out of my own pocket, and it's hurting. And we need to get the doctors that are on board with this, get the science in front of somebody. We need to get them to admit that they're wrong. Come out, and we need it blasted 15 times a day for 6 months. We need one set of rules. Every single doctor in America, in the world, needs to know that this low-fat diet and lack of physical activity is killing us. And once we get that behind us, then we'll start the real road to health. And that's what we need to do. So keep watching what I'm doing, and I'll let you know what's going to happen here shortly. I'll get this nonprofit up, and anybody that wants to help out with this thing, send me an email at don@carbwatchersutah.com. I would appreciate that, and thanks for tuning in. Thank you. Bye.